it's so crazy because there's centuries and centuries and centuries of men and women having to communicate. And somehow we still have not fucking mastered it. And we saw that in something that was supposed to, I think, be entertaining in Malcolm and Marie. The fact, too, again,
the movie.
I'm not going to lie, though. I think we watch things wanting to be entertained. And what's crazy is I loved this. I'm actually going to rewatch it with my partner. So Malcolm and Marie, for those of you who live under a rock, dropped on Netflix. It's from Sam Levinson, who is also the director of Euphoria. I do want to also preface this because I've seen a lot of conversations where they went ahead and dropped their thoughts on this film, and literally in the same breath of saying, this is how I felt about this film, they let people know that they didn't even finish it. And I just don't understand why so many people feel the need to drop their opinions before they have a full scope of any motherfucking thing. So I will say my response to this was, it was exhausting. It was so exhausting in a way that I feel like it was exhausting because it was a mirror. It was a mirror to business relationships, to friendships, to Liv. We just talked about how the word friend is so like overly used. So it's also even a conversation to just how you communicate with anyone. And I feel like, again, it was so beautiful to me because I felt like as I watched the film, I thought about my own business relationships, past relationships, friends who reached out to me and told me their relationships were toxic, but this is, I know how they communicate. Or I went on a trip to the Bahamas with my best friend. She brought her man at the time and I was exhausted. But this is what the communication was. And so I will say, before I want to know y'all's thoughts on it, because I definitely want to know, because y'all know we can't talk about shit. We'll bring something up in the group chat and say, save it for the pod.
Alex, you are in my brain.
Do you see it? See? So I already see what he's doing. I want to leave off by saying,
Alex is in my head.
I made that for Bay last night.
Look, not the craft.
Deluxe.
Wait, not the craft.
Oh, the deluxe. He loves the deluxe.
The blue box blue.
Really?
Yeah. We got home late. And he was really hungry. I'm intermittent fasting, so
this is on some hamburger helper type shit to me. Like, why as an adult?
Yo, shout out to you need a little quick meal sometimes.
Kraft mac and cheese with the powdered cheese?
No, it wasn't powdered. It's not. The deluxe is not powdered.
But this was powdered.
The deluxe is not powdered.
You talking about Velveeta, bro.
No, I'm talking about Kraft Deluxe.
Yeah, but the shit that she had, that was a powdered cheese.
Oh no, this deluxe is deluxe in cursive on the box.
So what does deluxe mean?
It's a creamy cheese.
We just talked about the ingredients. I want to see what that cheese is really made out of, baby. Because that shit live in a box. It lives in a box.
Bruh.
The cheese is in the dairy refrigerated section. Right. How you just having cheese out of an aluminum bag out the box aisle?
I was seeing a lot of people try to attack Marie for making that. That was his favorite fucking meal.
It was.
So don't attack Marie for making that bum ass mac and cheese. That's what he wanted, and he fucked that shit up. Went back for seconds and everything. So y'all gotta relax. Do not ridicule Marie's character for that.
That nigga had ASMR in that scene too.
So
he was grubbing.
He was shoveling that. Either way,
like it was a Thanksgiving Day meal.
I thought the acting performances were superb. They were phenomenal.
Agreed.
I think this is the discomfort about this, right? I hate that the trailer advertises this as this is a story of love, because I felt like love was the one thing missing from this entire film.
It actually says this is not a love story. That's the trailer.
It says it's a story of love. Right.
But this is not a love story.
That's fine. There was no love in this film whatsoever.
Agreed.
None.
Agreed.
Not even love of self. There was no love at all in this film.
To you and to us. But unfortunately, this is what a lot of women view as
but that's
love.
not. I know, but that's why I'm saying that there were a couple things that I disliked. Number one, I'm sad that the most talked about, most highly anticipated Black film that we have all collectively as a family, as a culture, been excited about is this level of toxicity between two Black people. I would like to first point that out. That really bothered me, which is probably not that big a deal to some people, but in my mind, like to go from 5-6 years ago, us celebrating the beauty and the lovely essence that is the Obamas.
I thought you were saying Black Panther.
No, I'm talking about like us having the opportunity to
See Black
reinforce, but reinforce what Black love and Black families look like. And I don't want to say redefine, because I think from what I grew up with, which was the Cosbys, which was the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, that was normal. Like love that's healthy and functional and supportive and encouraging was normal. The fact that this, for our generation of young Black people, is what's being painted as the normal picture is really upsetting to me. And I also think that neither of these characters was very likable. So when push came to shove about finishing, I finished it. My boyfriend and I watched the whole movie.
I know. Y'all sent
We
me
did.
a little video.
There were so many things that I was just like,
watch it.
ugh. But here's the thing. We toasted to not being toxic anymore. Like, and we've never been toxic with each other, but in past relationships and past lives, we both admitted to each other and shared with each other stories and moments where we were probably not the best versions of ourselves. And so I think this is incredibly relatable, but I also don't think that that's great. You know what I'm saying? I don't want that to be the precedent. I don't want that to be the standard. The fact that something is relatable, that it should be celebrated. I don't want that to be how we approach things, because this was painful to watch. If you've ever been a woman and you've been in a situation with a man who is determined to hurt you in an argument, it's more important for him to win by breaking you, by snapping you like a twig, which is literally what he says he could do to her if he wanted to.
Spoiler alert.
Like, that to me is not something I can celebrate. And her, you know, telling him he's mediocre and his experience doesn't matter, his perspective and viewpoint doesn't matter as a man.
Why are y'all with each other?
Right, and that's why I said there was no love in this whole film.
Yeah, what was your take on it?
I couldn't get it. I couldn't get with it.
We hopped in the group chat. Y'all know we got the group chat, and I was like, Malcolm and Marie, and I told Bridget to watch it, and she said, eh. Her response was EH. What was your thought on it?
Well, first and foremost, I have to shout out my friend Jason Rumbert. He custom designs Zendaya's
that dress. That shit was nice, baby. Couldn't do it with my titties.
Gorgeous,
because these things ain't lifted.
Great
but
thing.
Shout out.
It
was beautiful.
Here. It's a beautiful dress.
With
it was
the
great
slit.
to
It was
see
beautiful.
My friend, you know, I met Jason at Hofstra University. We were both a part of a fashion show. He was showing his designs at the
I knew
fashion
you was into
show.
fashion too, y'all.
So,
she sings. She's a DJ. She
I
dances.
like creative art.
She's fashion forward.
She's a cultural icon.
What don't you do, Liv?
Beautiful
I
chocolate
don't do
and rare.
construction, and I would like to get into that because there is money in that. But
Shout out to him.
I just want to shout out Jason Rumbert. I'm just so proud of my friend for just coming this far and having his design just have 1/3 of the movie just showcase, like the 1/3 of the movie was his runway. I am just so proud that he was allowed that moment. Shout out to Laura Roach for allowing that. But getting into the movie itself, yes. I was triggered.
Yeah.
Were you?
I was triggered.
From personal experience or just?
From personal experience. I mean, for me, the way I handle, confrontation, debate, and stuff like that, like, I wouldn't sit that long in it. There's no way that I would have spent an hour and 45 minutes to 2 hours arguing with someone like that. So for me to watch a couple do that as a movie that was beautifully shot, but just to see that, I there's no way that I would be like, okay, this is realistic to me.
They didn't have sex not one time.
They didn't have sex.
That is a problem too.
I'm gonna say Marie set that one up.
Yeah,
she
but
set that one up.
Okay.
I'm gonna say
yes.
She set that one up, and I think this is why the mac and cheese played such a poignant role in the beginning of the movie. The close-up shot with the title card of the bowl and mac and cheese, us actually seeing her put it in the calendar and all this other. We're seeing so many close-ups of its mac and cheese, and I was like, why is so much focus on this goddamn mac and cheese? You know the sound mac and cheese makes?
Oh, I didn't even think of that, sis.
If you close your eyes the way you would while you're waiting for a facial.
If you close your
Unless
eyes.
you drunk and ain't had enough water intake, that thing don't be wet like that, baby.
If you know
I'm
the
just saying,
sound,
whiskey clit is a thing.
If you know the sound of mac and cheese,
That's some good
you
vibes.
know
There we
that
go.
Marie was being very, very petty in that moment where she made it clear that the
All
only
right.
the thing that you know that makes that sound that mac and cheese makes, you ain't getting that tonight.
You was gonna get up in that wet.
You not getting that shit tonight. So you better scarf this shit down like it's your last meal,
look at it like that,
you
Liv.
ain't eating this. A lot of man not get no boom boom tonight. And that's what happened to Malcolm. He didn't get no pussy. And I think she held that pussy card up high in the beginning because she knew had she broke that, he would have won. So she kept holding out on that. That's why we didn't get a sex scene in this movie.
Can I bring up something about that though, Liz?
Only reason I don't agree with that is because it was about to go down, and then his stupid ass Malcolm was like, "I gotta pee. I'll be right back."
Here she goes.
She almost broke.
She almost broke. Had he just held on for a little bit,
All he
had
had to stop midway in having sex. Bitch, I gotta piss.
All he would have had to do was eat the box. He could have just eaten the box.
He could have done that.
And that would have been a sufficient apology depending on his skill level. But I also think it might have been. That's a great apology. Listen, Taraji took it from Jodie in Baby Boy.
She sure did.
That was an apology while she was envisioning this idea that he was going to die and get shot. Anyway.
Oh, go ahead. Because I have so many different points to bring up too. So
I think the sex would have been them having sex and then continuing the fight after that to me would have been way more realistic because she stumbles on that. On that overthought again while he's in the bathroom, which is usually what happens after you have sex, right? Mm-hmm. Like if you have sex and you in the middle of a fight and you think that that's gonna be the resolution, right? That's gonna be the makeup moment. Like, all right, cool, we made up. We ain't gotta fight no more. Nah. Usually, if the fight is real and you have sex, even if it's violent and it's passionate, you still like at some point turn over like, so when you said
but see,
that you didn't fuck with me, it was like,
so when I saw you and I know y'all were like, why aren't they just fucking already and going to sleep like it's late? And I think that when I viewed this, that was my thing. A lot of us would look at this scene and be like, can y'all just fuck, go to sleep and wake up tomorrow like nothing happened? And
I didn't expect to wake up like nothing happened. But I expected sex and then a fight.
But I will say a lot of people in relationships, they just feel like, okay, if we can go about doing something normally, that means it's swept under the rug. But what's happened is a lot of people do not fully knock everything out that they need to because they're like, oh my God, I hate confrontation. I want to run. Let's fuck. That means if we fuck, we're back going. If we have an argument and we do the podcast, we did a podcast, we're good. But no, there may be underlying things that still were not resolved, but because we did the podcast and we talking and we cool. No. And I think that looking
not when
at
you're this toxic.
But what I'm saying is you never know because I'm still learning both of you guys. There may be things that I say or do that hurts y'all that just because we do this podcast doesn't mean that we're good. I've had people tell me, well, you walked in the room and said hi, so I thought y'all was good. Nigga, I'm civil. There's a difference. It don't just because I walk in.
I'm being cordial.
No, I'm being cordial, and that's the thing too. Like when I had my fucking job, and y'all may hate me. I bring up corporate a lot, but this is how I internalize a lot of things. There were coworkers that I fucking hated. If I walk into fucking work on a Monday and be like, "How was y'all's weekend?" I really don't give a fuck. But I'm here at work. I have to work with you.
Right. I have to ask.
We are going to be in a civil place. I wanted to bring the conversation to y'all. Men, this is where y'all may be triggered because we gonna bring the motherfucking triggering to you. This man not only grew up with both parents, had education and everything, and in the very scene in which he had to bring Marie down to her lowest, he kind of shared that he almost prays and is always with broken women.
Yep.
And I wanted to have that conversation with y'all because if we're talking about the pride and ego of a man, we've talked about how maybe men are intimidated by independent or boss women of this magnitude. Mm-hmm. And at the very point where she's bringing up her emotions and why she feels the way she feels, he decided to attack her and bring up why she's broken, how he was there. And then when she was in the tub scene, he brings up all of the other broken women he was with. Like, bitch, you ain't the first broken woman I done been with.
Right.
And it's just, that brought me to a point where it's just like, damn,
Yeah.
you have both parents. You grew up with a silver spoon. You got an education, and yet you still almost prey on women because you still want them almost beneath you, in a sense to where I have to be dependent on you, which is why she came home and made that mac and cheese. She's a trophy wife right here. She looks great, which is why he also didn't feel the need to thank her.
They get in the house.
Yes.
He turns on the music and talks about how beautiful she looked that night.
Yep.
And it said, "You're beautiful. I don't want to listen to you right now."
The scene. He set the scene. And he set the tone of it from the beginning, and him talking about kind of downplaying the fact that she thinks that the character is based off of her that he created. He's like, no, there's plenty of other broken women that I've dated. It's not essentially a situation where he is intimidated by, I didn't take it as he's intimidated by strong women. I took it as he gets, those are his muses. Because he's coming from a two-parent household, because he's come from a very non-toxic situation for the most part.
Safe and provided for.
There's no real story to tell of his own.
Or tragedy.
So he's able to tell these tragedies through the people that he dates, and he gets his jollies, and he gets his inspiration from them. So he's okay with dating with broken women, and he feels the need to be their hero, because he's like, okay, not only have I provided you a safe space with somebody that's coming from a great background, but also I'm providing you this platform that you've always wanted, Marie. You always wanted to be a star. So here it is, your story put up. Isn't that enough for you? So it's a control thing.
Can I also say, and this is again me just being open, a little vulnerable here. I'm realizing it now because I'm in a space where I can't provide for myself. But a lot of men that I dealt with in the past, and a lot of women, when you deal with men with money or power, that abuse is there almost invisibly as a wall, because as men, they love to know that they're your hero. Yeah. They love to be your provider. They love to be like, you couldn't have done this without me. And a lot of men have this ego that, unfortunately, as women, when we're dependent on them for either our livelihood or to pay our bills, or in that case, we take on this abuse. We take on this emotional roller coaster. But as men, they don't see that they're the predators. They don't see that you are literally, you need me to be.
I think they do.
You think they do?
I think oftentimes they do. And I think the women in these situations, well, I don't want to speak on the women. I will, but I will speak.
Girl, we the women. We got to speak for the women.
Yeah, but I think women have, and I've only dealt with and dated, a small number of men with the type of money you're talking about. And
I done slept with a whole lot of them.
In that span of time, what I realized was it is definitely used as a tool for compensation, if nothing else, for the lack of respect or the lack of necessity to connect. Right? I always found that men with a lot of money find it a lot easier to attach and a lot more difficult to connect. And I make the distinction because
attach and connect,
they're not the same.
Talk to me. What is the difference between attaching and connecting? Because are they not synonyms?
I'll use they are synonyms, but I'll use a great example.
Okay.
If you have to buy an iPhone charger, you have the USB cord and you have the cube.
Okay.
In order for them to actually work, they have to be connected. In order for them to function properly, they have to be connected. However, you can have a charger that's not connected, that's with just the cord that's attached to the thing, and it won't work. It'll never work because it's just an attachment. So something within that attachment doesn't. All it takes is one thing to completely malfunction for it to not work. Right?
I know that in the DJ world.
And the whole thing, and you have to throw the whole thing away. One wire.
The whole shit. The
doesn't
party
work.
Fucked up. Shit gets my fucking nerves.
You're relying on an attachment, not the power of the connectivity. Because
you be coming with these big words.
Sorry, this is a really deep comparison, right?
Connectivity. Ooh.
Because when you think about, if you wanted to,
this could be sponsored by AT&T.
This could be sponsored by Apple.
Your ad could be placed here.
Okay. Because think about it. If your USB breaks, USB cord breaks, you can buy a new USB cord to connect it to the plug. If your if your little cube breaks, you can buy a new cube to connect to your cord, and you can find another way for that to work that way. It's a transference of energy versus a complete dependence on one source of power to power both pieces.
Girl, the way your brain works,
So-
it is so good, girl. Oh my God.
So-
like, I would have never thought this.
So
you
when
know
I-
what I mean?
So it's basically like imagine like people that get married just for the sake of getting married, right? Just
Y'all
to say
ain't
that
Bridget
they're not
smart
alone.
as fuck. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
But it's just like people will stay in relationships with partners that they allow to become strangers over time, and they're not even connected to them anymore, but they're still attached. They're still married. They're still, you know what I'm saying? This was a perfect example, watching this movie, of two people that are completely attached, but they're not connected at all. There's nothing that connects them.
I think that's why it
except
was
their
exhausting
trauma.
because a lot of us have those relationships.
But it's
it was a mirror to the
Except their
fact that
trauma.
this is not good. They shouldn't be together. And as we watch it, as we see the arguments, as we see all of the internalized issues, it's us. A lot of us have that.
Yeah, but that's also why I thought it sucked. Because if we were to look at ourselves and see that as a reflection, we wouldn't do that. The goal in a relationship is to see yourself in another person, but you want to like what you see.
Right.
You want to love what you see. If that's the exchange between you and your person, you don't like that shit at all. You hate that shit. In fact, that shit hurts you more than anything else. So that's why I say, to me, as accurate a depiction that might be for the most toxic of toxic, it's still to me not a healthy display in any capacity of what the transformation from toxic to healing looks like. I want to see more stories of healing. We have enough toxic in real life.
I mean, I think at the same time, clickbait is this type of shit. Like,
and it's not to take away from the talent.
Hey,
but-
Danny Lay
Sagu.
single, bitch.
Oh, shit.
Sorry. I just wanna-
Wait, before you
sorry,
say
no,
who-
no. I didn't want to leave this
Segu, please.
because I did also want to say too.
Fucking-
I'm sorry, no Segu,
It's
bitch.
such a big gap.
I know, but shout out to the baby being single. But no, I just want to say my thing with this film too is that her issue stemmed from not receiving a thank you. As we progressed through the film, it was the fact that she felt like she wasn't casted. And I wanted to speak on this publicly because unfortunately, so many of us do not like conflict. So many of us do not like to live in the present. So when we have an issue with something, instead of bringing it forth presently because we want to, backtrack or get away from any type of drama or conflict, it begins a building block. Mm-hmm. And it begins a building block of, I don't trust this person. I don't ever want to talk to this person. I don't like how this person responds to me. I don't like that this person is this way. I don't like this. And
it builds resentment.
It builds that much, so much so to where that's what I saw in this. And I felt like, unfortunately, that is how a lot of relationships have went downward in my past even, and friends' past, where you're telling me your issues, but you're not telling the person the issue. And so even his frustration in, this ain't even about you getting a thank you.
Yeah, but
it's about the fact that I didn't cast you. And real quick, because I do want to get this out. So many of us think that this little tiny problem is something that doesn't need to be discussed. And therefore, it's not brought up until weeks or months or years later. And now as I'm coming at you with my problem, you're snapping at me about a buildup of things that I have no idea existed because you did not bring them to me.
Right.
And so in a conversation like this, it became you hurt me, well, I'm gonna hurt you back. There was no resolution to what she was bringing to the table, because even if I said thank you, even if I said you were the best thing that happened to me in this moment, you're still not gonna be okay. Right. Because you have an issue that I didn't cast you. And I feel like, unfortunately, so many of us communicate this way. As I'm watching it, I'm yelling at him. I'm yelling at her. I'm seeing myself in both of them. I'm seeing relationships in both of them.
Yeah.
And it was just like, oh, this is exhausting. But also, it goes to show the fact that I saw people like, why can't they just fucking get it over with? Well, that's not going to resolve it. Well, also the fact that people still think that she didn't get a thank you was the issue.
No.
She felt a way that she wasn't supported, that she wasn't casted. Why didn't you choose me? There were all of these underlying issues, and we see that in relationships, in friendships, and workships. It happens.
I just don't want people to internalize this as...
Nah, bro, it's a mirror. Internalize that shit, bitch.
No,
and check yourself.
it's
Go
not.
to therapy.
I am not internalizing this.
Well, no,
shit.
not
I'm living
internalizing.
this shit.
Not
But
internalize
reflect.
it.
Wait,
Oh,
reflect
because-
is reflection is better. Y'all know
Reflection is good.
These words, I don't know.
Reflection is good.
I'm
That's
trying to get
good.
some synonyms up in
Nah,
here.
reflection-
So reflection
reflection
and
is the word.
internalizing, that ain't the same.
Reflection is
bitch,
the
I ain't
word.
a thesaurus.
The
I'm not an
reason-
atlas. I don't know what's going on.
Another reason this was also a really
ma'am.
a bad example
Liv,
is
shut up.
because as much as we want to look at, these two that want to hurt each other, we're also dealing with two people that have no real awareness of who they are.
Right.
She doesn't know who she is. He doesn't know who he is. She doesn't even know why she's upset. And most of the time, it doesn't matter whether it's women or men, right? If you don't know who you are and you don't know what your issue is, you can't communicate it. Because you don't know what it is. So you're just responding. You're just reactive.
You're just upset.
reactionary to everything.
And you don't know why you're upset.
And it's 9 times out of 10, it's not even about what you're talking about. There's nothing that he would have said in this entire film for an hour and 50 minutes that he's chasing her around the house with his shirt and tie still
I
fully
would
buttoned
love
up
for John David
to chase you around the house.
Chase you around the
Got
house.
it.
Child David.
Yelling about the woman from the New York Times.
Yeah, like what?
I'll
Because-
block him
because-
out,
because
but just chase me, boo.
Like, but
chase
I
me.
do also want to talk
It is
about that too.
Valentine's Day
There-
soon,
Come on.
y'all.
There was a level.
Listen. Hold on one
Uh-oh.
second.
Come on, baby. We gotta live.
John
Come on,
David
infomercial.
Washington.
We need a song for this.
JD.
Wait, what'd you call him?
JD. Can I call you JD?
JDW, maybe?
No.
JDW sounds like insurance.
All right, never mind.
JG Wentworth.
All right, JD, go ahead and speak to him, girl.
JD, I am tickled pink. And
Tickled lavender.
I'm feeling you. I like your swag. I liked you since Ballers, and I'm taking my shot.
Oh, live on air?
Yeah.
She said, fuck the DMs.
Holla at me.
This is feminism.
I ain't mad at you.